With rising housing costs and shrinking square footage, most of us are learning to make the most out of less. But just because your home is small doesn't mean that you have to live small. In this video, I'm sharing 13 practical design tips to help you maximize every inch and turn your small space into a functional, stylish home that works beautifully for you. Most furniture is lazy, a massive couch that only works as a couch, or a dining table that takes up half the room. That is dead weight. In a small space, every piece of furniture needs to pull double or even triple duty. Take a storage ottoman. It is a seat, a footrest, and hidden storage all in one. Or take modular storage units. They can also double as benches in a small dining area. And if you've got a shelving system like the Vitsu 606, you can use it as a workspace. You can even create your own custom multifunctional furniture like this desk that has a pull-out keyboard. Even beds and sofas, some of the bulkiest pieces in a home, shouldn't just be a bed or a sofa. Go for a bed with a roll-out storage underneath, or a sofa with a lift-up cushion storage system. Now you're making the most out of your furniture. Sofa beds are also a great option. They used to be so heavy and bulky, which is not ideal for small spaces. But I've seen many options today that are visually lighter and look much more appealing. Then there's also furniture that transforms. Extendable dining tables can get bigger when you're hosting a larger group. You can even make extendable bench seats like what they've done here on this dining bunkhead. Or this dining table that folds up onto the wall into an artwork and entryway bench. Other things that are useful are a coffee table that lifts up into a dining table or desk, which means you don't need another big bulky surface. You can even get white blackout blinds that double as a projector screen to ditch the TV completely if you're that short on space. The point is, don't let your furniture waste space. Make it earn its keep. If your home feels cramped and chaotic, chances are it is not just the size of the space, it is the stuff in it. Too many items, too much decor, too many things lying around, and suddenly, your brain is overwhelmed trying to process it all. Even curated decor can make a room feel cramped if there's no sense of order. So, what should you do? Be smarter about your storage, and that means using vertical space. Floor-to-ceiling cabinets, for example, give you way more storage without eating up valuable floor space. If you don't want to install floor-to-ceiling cabinets or don't have the budget to, another idea is to do a series of open shelves like what they've done next to the window in this apartment. Because it is a narrow area, it draws the eye up nicely and creates the illusion of a taller space. Just be wary that if you do go for open shelving, not to overdo it. It looks beautiful in photos, but the reality is that it is hard to keep it looking that nice all the time. That is why I always advise to have more closed storage options than open storage if possible, so you have places to hide those clutter and everyday belongings. Being smart about storage also means getting creative with your void spaces. Shallow rollout containers under the sofa, a low bench in a narrow entryway, or custom storage under stairs or under sloped ceilings. These often overlooked areas are prime for storage. Got any awkward alcoves? They're perfect for extra shelving or even a tiny workspace. If you're looking for a more budget-friendly storage solutions, baskets and crates are your best friends. They're affordable, easy to move, and blend in perfectly with spaces when you place them near plants or furniture. At the end of the day, if you've got a small space, there's only so many storage units and solutions that you can put in place. So if you've got endless stuff and are finding it hard to find places to store things, it is probably not a bad time to consider decluttering. One thing that I find useful is asking myself these two questions. If I don't already own this item, will I spend money to buy it again? And if this item was destroyed in a fire, would I be upset and replace it? If I answer no to either of these questions, it's probably something well worth donating or throwing out. But if I'm still unsure, that is when I bring out a transition box. I talked about all of this in one of my videos on how to declutter effectively, so you can check that out if you're interested. Another issue with small spaces isn't necessarily that you can't find space to store things. It is actually that you have too much on display. What I recommend here is to curate your decor so not everything is out on display. All in all, the goal here isn't so much about minimalism. It is just being intentional about what you show, keep, and where you store it. If you want your space to feel larger and more open, it all comes down to your paint choices. Light colors are highly reflective, bouncing natural light around and making a room feel airy. white walls in particular, create a seamless look which gives the illusion of more space. But here's something you might not have heard. Sticking to a single color in a room is more important than choosing light tones. Sure, pale shades can brighten the space, but using one continuous color, whether light or dark, is what you should be doing. Why? Because it helps blur the edges of the room, making it feel calmer and more expansive. So, if you prefer something more dramatic and cozy rather than light and airy, and you have a small space, don't fret. You can use a singular, deep, rich shade for that cocooning effect you're after without making the space feel that much smaller. What you need to remember is to keep your color palette minimal. That is why you may even consider using similar tones in your floors and walls. A seamless look like this will reduce visual clutter and make any space feel bigger, no matter the size. Paint isn't just about choosing a color and calling it a day. Remember that it is a tool to reshape how your room feels. For example, if you want your ceilings to look higher, keep the ceiling light while painting the walls in a darker tone. This will make the ceiling visually lift, giving the illusion of extra height. Or if you want to elongate your room, paint a single wall in a lighter shade and leave the rest dark. That will draw your eye to the focal area and create depth. Or if you want your space to look wider, paint the main wall and ceiling in a darker shade, while keeping the side walls lighter. This contrast will trick the eye into seeing more width and make the room feel more expansive. Another way to make a small room feel bigger is to be strategic about mirror placement. The reason why is that mirrors reflect light, creating the illusion of extra volume and tricking your brain into perceiving more space than it actually exists. To really maximize this effect, you want to place a large mirror directly across from a window so it bounces natural light around the room. Or if you have, say, a long narrow corridor, put a mirror at the end to visually double its length. And if you want to draw the eye upwards and make the ceiling feel higher, tall, slender mirrors do the trick. Another idea is to use a mirror as your kitchen backsplash like what they've done here. But just beware that you will need to clean them regularly. But it is not just mirrors. Shiny surfaces like glass, polished marble, and glossy finishes can have a similar effect, reflecting light and making small space feel larger. So try to use those to your advantage. Heavy, blocky furniture can make a small room feel even more cramped. What you should do instead is purchase Leggy pieces, furniture that is raised off the ground like a sofa with taller legs or a bed frame with clearance underneath. They let light pass through and you can see more of the floor, instantly making the room feel bigger and more open. This is actually one of the biggest tricks to small spaces. The more floor you can see, the bigger your space will look, because your eyes instantly perceive a bigger surface area. Low platform beds and floor-hugging sofas might seem sleek, but they sacrifice a lot of that airiness. In small spaces, I'll only do this if they serve multiple functions, like a storage underneath. Also, furniture with narrower arms helps keep things light and streamlined. If you're looking for a certain style that does this well, look for mid-century modern or Scandinavian styles. They're typically great for small spaces because they naturally feature clean lines and gentle curves. While on the topic of curves, furniture with rounded edges is typically better for smaller spaces. Take a circular table as an example. It takes up a lot less space than a rectangular or square one, right? But it is also because pieces with soft edges create a gentler and more inviting feel, and also helps your eye flow smoothly through the room. There aren't any of those harsh corners that interrupt the space. And if you want more help creating a space that feels intentional, timeless, and actually works for your lifestyle, I go through it all step by step with the cozy method in my practical home design course. You can check it out here or in the description box below. Another small space mistake is jamming too much furniture too close together. Just because you're working with limited square footage doesn't mean that everything has to be crammed in. Giving pieces room to breathe is actually what makes a space feel bigger, and it comes back to the concept of negative space. Empty space subconsciously suggests that you have more room to fill. As a general rule, try to leave roughly 60 centimeters between large furniture pieces for a comfortable walkway. You can also think about using furniture alternatives in your small space. Do you really need a coffee table? Maybe a movable side table and ottoman can fulfill all the functions you'll need from a bulky side table. You'll be surprised how much of an improvement small adjustments like this can make in a small space. Lighting is everything when it comes to creating a spacious, welcoming feel, both natural and artificial. Light colors and mirrors will bounce light around a room, but artificial lighting is just as important. Downlights alone, that is a big no. They create harsh shadows and a sterile and uninviting feel. What you want to do instead is layer your lighting. Start with ambient lighting. Things like table lamps, wall sconces, and floor lamps. These add warmth and create a relaxed atmosphere. But lighting is about more than just general illumination. Be strategic. If you love reading on the couch, make sure you've got a light source there. Layer your light to suit your habit and lifestyle. Unfortunately, a lot of these ambient light options take up a lot of precious floor space. So in smaller spaces, wall-mounted fixtures or pendant lights are perfect. Alternatively, choose slender floor lamps with small bases or recessed or track lighting. Like how in this bedroom they've used a low-hanging pendant on a very thin cord as well as a spherical sconce on their headboard to maximize space while keeping it all visually light. And if you like the flexibility of moving your light around, look for portable, rechargeable lamps which you can easily move as needed. I'd also consider lights that double as art like the PH5 pendant or pivot and wall lights from Nemo. They provide beautiful illumination while also doubling as an art piece to admire. If you want more help with decorating, I've put together a free Secrets to a Beautiful Home guide to help you design a home you love. Inside, you'll also find a decorating checklist to help you as you're decorating your home. You can check it out here or using the link in the description box below. The more natural light, the more open and airy your home will feel, which is why you need to be able to control that light with window furnishings. When it comes to curtains, one of the best tricks is to hang your curtains higher and wider than the window. That means mounting them about 2/3 of the way between the top of the window and the ceiling molding or even higher. This will draw your eyes upward, making the ceilings look taller and the room feel more expansive. And then for the length, I prefer them just stopping slightly above it. Puddled fabric might look luxurious in the right setting, but in a compact room, it just eats up space and adds unnecessary clutter. It's like how we want to purchase Leggy furniture. The more floor you can see, the bigger your space will feel. When it comes to fabric, opt for lightweight, breezy materials instead of heavy, dark curtains that absorbs light, as they can make spaces feel smaller. Another option is to install roller blinds. Unlike curtains, they roll up completely and sit just above the window, exposing the entire pane for maximum daylight. If you go down this route, choose blinds in the same color as your walls for a seamless look. This will help make the room feel more expansive. The only downside is that roller blinds can sometimes make a boxy space feel a little cold, but you can balance them out with warm textures and soft furnishings. We only went into blinds and curtains briefly here, but if you want to learn more about all the different types of window treatments out there, check out our video on Beginner's Guide to Choosing Window Treatments. Horizontal lines, whether in furniture, wall paneling, or rugs, can visually widen a room, making it feel more expansive. This is a great trick for narrow spaces like hallways or small living rooms where you want to create a sense of openness. On the other hand, vertical lines pull the eye upward, emphasizing height and making low ceilings feel taller. Think of floor-to-ceiling curtains, tall bookshelves, or even vertical wall paneling. They all work to stretch a space vertically. When it comes to flooring, you may even consider a diagonal tile layout. The brain perceives the longest distance between 2 points as a diagonal, so arranging tiles in this way tricks the eye into perceiving a larger space. This works especially well in square or compact rooms where traditional layouts might emphasize the room's small dimensions. Just keep in mind that installing tiles diagonally means more cuts along the edges, which can add to material cost and installation time. But if the goal is to make your space feel bigger, it is a small price to pay for a big impact. On the topic of flooring, if you want your space to feel bigger, go for consistent large format flooring versus smaller ones. Large format tiles create the illusion of more space because there's fewer seams breaking up the floor. This effect is even better if you use the same flooring throughout multiple rooms. Without visible transitions or sudden changes in material, your eye won't register a hard boundary between spaces, which makes everything feel more open and connected. By now, you're probably realizing that minimalist and sleek decor makes small spaces feel larger. And that is why when it comes to cabinetry, you should go for flat front cabinets as it creates a cleaner, more seamless look that doesn't overwhelm the room. If you want an even more streamlined effect, opt for handleless designs, ones that have a push-to-open mechanisms or integrated pulls. And if you're installing cupboards, take them all the way to the ceiling. As we have been discussing, maintaining vertical lines is what gives a space an illusion of height. Stopping short will leave an awkward gap that quickly becomes a dust trap. But if you already have a significant gap, don't let it turn into a cluttered dead zone. Be intentional with the space by using decorative baskets or storage. The goal is to keep everything looking tidy and cohesive, so your small space feels more open rather than visually busy. My parting point here is to look to hotels for inspiration, not a conventional spot for inspiration, but they're designed to pack a lot into a compact footprint while still looking stylish and functional. And with more hotels going beyond just a place to sleep, designers have come up with some really clever space-saving solutions. Take this Swedish hotel by Norm Architects. Instead of solid walls, they've used a slatted screen to divide the bedroom and lounge area, keeping the space feeling open yet defined. Or look at the Yoyogi Park Hotel in Shibuya. The built-in joinery here is a perfect entryway storage solution, and the petite bedside table proves that even the smallest bedrooms can have a functional surface without wasting space. Or take this hotel that has an extended upholstered headboard to double as a backrest for a bunkhead. Super smart as it creates a multifunctional dining and work area in one streamlined design. Now, of course, hotel rooms are designed for short stays, so you can't copy them directly to your home. But the smart design tricks like clever storage, multifunctional furniture, and visually open dividers can absolutely be applied to small apartments and houses. You never know, you might just find the perfect idea you hadn't thought of yet in a hotel. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on the 9 non-negotiable design rules for a beautiful space, or this playlist where I fix various subscribers' homes including plenty of small spaces. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.